All right, I'm checking in from US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, where the 49ers fall to the Minnesota Vikings 23-17. And as I wrote about at NBC Sports Bay Area, um, this was a game where the 49ers did not have to play the perfect game in order to come here and beat the Vikings. Um, but what happened was, as I wrote, the 49ers played the perfectly awful game. And it was really all three phases. It was offense, defense, special teams. Some of the coaching decisions did not work, albeit they were probably the right decisions when to go for it on fourth down. But it all started with the blocked punt, a breakdown in protection that enabled the Vikings to block that punt and get a long return as well. The 49ers defense stiffened there, so they only allowed the 3 points. But when it comes down to it, couple of big plays they allowed on defense, including a 97-yard touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson. 49ers have been playing in the NFL for a long time. 1950 was their first year in the NFL. This was the longest play the 49ers defense has ever given up. And this is the defense that gives that up. Let's talk about that play because that gave the Vikings a 10-0 lead in this game. 49ers had a blitz called. Fred Warner, who had a marvelous game, said, I should have gotten to Sam Darnold. So he took responsibility that probably wasn't his responsibility. Jair Brown also took responsibility. 49ers were playing man coverage. Odom, I guess, passing him off to Jair Brown, who's playing the deep middle. Ball is thrown over the heads of those guys, ends up being a touchdown. Justin Jefferson angles to the left, comes back to the right, and a touchdown. Now, that field position with the Vikings backed up deep was a result of the 49ers failing on a fourth down play. Earlier on that drive, when the 49ers had the ball, they went for it on fourth down and they failed. They actually ended up going for it 3 times on fourth down in this game after only going for it on fourth down 13 times last season. So the 49ers really on the money plays on both offense and defense did not come through. 2 of 10 on third downs, 1 of 3 on fourth downs. I asked Kyle Shanahan about the reasoning for going for it on fourth down the 3 times, and he said it wasn't part of the game plan as far as he didn't see something with what he expected the Vikings to be doing on fourth downs. He didn't think that it was anything related to what he thought the flow of the game would be. It was just a matter of down in distance where they were on the field. In other words, for a couple of those around midfield, they were just out of field goal range, and he liked the down and distance enough to go for it. So on the one, he ended up going for it. Brock Purdy hits Juwan Jennings for 25 yards. 49ers are rolling. Now they get to the 2-yard line, and it's fourth and goal from the 2. And again, the 49ers felt like they had the right play call against what they were expecting that Brian Flores defense to do. It was an all-out blitz. Purdy believed when he let go of that ball that he had Juwan Jennings open in the end zone for a touchdown. However, Andrew Van Ginkel, the right outside linebacker for the Vikings, tipped it, and then Harrison Smith kind of finished off the deal with the deflection, the PBU, so the 49ers don't get anything out of that. And that's when the huge play happened, the 97-yard touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson. So huge momentum swing there. 49ers not getting the touchdown, and then the Vikings immediately cashing in. And that was part of the reason the 49ers went for it on that fourth down, was because they figured, well, if they don't get it, then at least the Vikings are backed up and there's a possibility of getting good field position out of that. Another breakdown for the 49ers defense came later. Touchdown pass, Sam Darnold to Jalen Nailor. That was a play that Charvarius Ward took the blame for. He read run. He kind of committed to coming up and run support. Pass goes over his head. Offensively, 49ers just didn't get anything going. I thought the pass protection for a lot of the game was pretty good enough to win this game. Some of the sacks early were coverage sacks, but when things went wrong, they went wrong. And a lot of that had to do, I think, with just the situation in the game. 49ers were playing catch up. They were going to be passing on a lot of those downs. The Vikings knew that with the crowd noise, which I don't think the crowd was all that much of a factor early in the game, but it did become a factor later. And so even a guy like Trent Williams, the all-pro left tackle, struggled in pass protection. And again, Brock Purdy, 6 sacks in this game. Certainly not all on the offensive line, but too much. And I asked Kyle Shanahan about that pass protection element, and he goes, the way you avoid those kinds of sacks is to avoid the game situations where the opposition knows you're going to be in pass mode. Brock Purdy finishes game 28 of 36, 319 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Sam Darnold becomes only the third quarterback in the history of the 49ers to play for the team 1 year and then start against them the next. He's the first guy who's done that since 1975, Joe Reed. I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, didn't Joe Montana do that? No, Montana played for the 49ers in 92. He didn't start against the 49ers as a member of the Chiefs until 94. Another good game for Jordan Mason. 20 carries, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, Christian McCaffrey goes on IR. He's out for at least 4 weeks. I think it is highly speculative to think of when exactly Christian McCaffrey will be back on the team. Nobody knows. After all, this is a guy that missed a month of training camp due to the Achilles tendonitis and the calf strain. He came back, practice limited for 1 week, was inactive for the week 1 game, and then really wasn't feeling good. Thursday, they decide to put him on IR. Saturday, they haven't filled that roster spot, so let's see what they do there. My thinking is that they might not go with a running back, but if there is a situation where they're looking for a veteran running back, 3 guys come to mind, and these are 3 guys that have histories with the 49ers. One is Jerick McKinnon. I know he's 32 years old, but he's still out there. Matt Breida, probably a more likely choice because he was with the 49ers in camp this last year, was one of their first cuts when it was time to trim the roster. The other guy is Salvin Ahmed, who was with the 49ers in camp a couple of years ago, ended up playing for the Dolphins. So those are the possibilities there. With the passing game, Deebo Samuel, big game, 8 catches, 110 yards. George Kittle, 7 catches, 76 yards. So he becomes number 3 on the all-time tight end list in receiving yards after his first 100 games. This game Sunday was George Kittle's 100th regular season NFL game, and he goes 5th on the all-time list in reception. So a good game for him. Brandon Ayuk still trying to find his way. 4 catches for 43 yards. But, going back to Mason, 49ers wanted to get the run game going a little bit more, but the difficulty, I thought the running game was okay, but the difficulty was they weren't able to get the first downs in the passing game to extend drives to get the running game really going. But certainly when you think about the bright spots in this game, I think Jordan Mason is one of them. The other is Fred Warner. I mean, he was all over the field, and this was a 23-17 game without Fred Warner out there. I mean, it is an absolute blowout. Warner, 9 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, one of which generated a takeaway. So a huge game for him. Nick Bosa, 2 sacks. Kind of the thing that kind of stood out to me in talking with the players after this game, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, was just the frustration level. I mean, they knew that this was a game they should win. This was a game that they knew that all they had to do was avoid those major mistakes, and they would come out of here with a victory. And guess what? They didn't avoid those major mistakes. The mistakes were all across the board on every imaginable level, and even the coaching decisions that seemed reasonable and rational, they didn't work out either. So 49ers are 1-1. Back to the drawing board. They have a big game coming up, week 3, NFC West game against the Los Angeles Rams. So once again, thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button and the like and comment, and we'll be back at you soon.